Okay, so good morning, everyone. Welcome to the second session, video seminar or online seminar session on security as a concept, our theme for this week and next week. For today, we have a great lineup of presenters. We have Miss Mana, who will be representing Group 4, and then Miss Kelly, Group 5. Group 6, we have Miss Kona, and Group 7 will be represented by Miss Richard. So without further delay, we'll leave the floor to Goroti. Goroti, please share your answer to the question with us.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. The question assigned to group 4 reads, what are the two philosophies of security outlined by Williams? So this is what we've discussed as a group and came up with answering the question. According to Williams, when asked about philosophy, it raises concerns about epistemology, that's how do we know things, ontology, what phenomena do we think make up the social world, and the method, that's how we should study the social world. Williams, in his book, came up with two philosophies of security. The first philosophy mentioned by Williams views security as being virtually synonymous to the accumulation of power. In other words, it can be referred to as a traditional security, which focuses on state-centric threats like military aggression and territorial integrity. This concept stresses on security being used as a commodity where an actor or state must possess a property, weapon, or an army, which in turn accumulates to the military power where they feel more secured. An example of this concept in PNG is the country's focus on protecting its borders and sovereignty. PNG has faced challenges with border security due to illegal activities such as smuggling and human trafficking. This has led to the government's emphasis on strengthening its military and law enforcement agencies to safeguard its territorial integrity. On the other hand, the second philosophy discussed by Williams challenges the first philosophy, stating that the security is based on emancipation. This idea can be called human security, which broadens the concept of security beyond the state to include individuals and communities, which fosters relations with other actors. Human security can encompass a wide range of issues, including economic deprivation, environmental degradation, infectious diseases, and human rights violations. These threats prioritize the well-being and safety of people over traditional security interests, which is the first philosophy. So these relationships among different actors may be positive or negative. So PNG has been actively involved in regional securities such as the Pacific Island Forum and the Melanesian Spearhead Group. By participating in these multilateral organizations, PNG aims to address non-traditional security threats like climate change, natural disasters, and transnational crime that affect the region as a whole. So this approach reflects a shift towards a more comprehensive understanding of security beyond military concerns. The Pacific Island Forum and the Melanesian Spearhead Group are examples used in the Pacific region where PNG is part of. But if you think about the international organizations such as the United Nations, European Union, Amnesty International, and Red Cross, these are international organizations that fight for human rights, human security, and human justice, which falls under the second philosophy of emancipation. So in conclusion, within the regional context, PNG's engagement with both traditional, that's the first philosophy, and the broader security, the second philosophy, perspectives highlights the complexity of contemporary security challenges. By balancing national defense with regional cooperation on non-traditional security issues, PNG exemplifies the nuanced approach necessary to address the diverse threats in the modern world. So thank you, and that's our response to the question that was given to us.
Thank you, Ms. Mana and Group 4. If you want to know more about the two philosophies, you can share your comments or questions on the discussion forum for this week, and either this week or next week, and Ms. Mana and their group can respond accordingly. We now move on to our next presenter, Ms. Kelly, representing group number 5.
Good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me? Can you all hear me? So the question that was given to us was, what distinguishes international security studies from the general field of international relations, according to Buzan and Hansen? So in the context of globalization, the terms international relation and international security studies are crucial. Numerous academics have provided clarification on how the two ideas differ from one another. International security studies can differ from international relations in several ways. One is that international security studies has a more specific and narrow focus on security issues, broadly traditional military security, society security, economic security, and environmental security, while IR, or international relations, covers a wider range of topics. The second feature that distinguishes international relations from international security studies is that ISS draws insights from disciplines such as political science, sociology, economics, geography, physiology, and environmental studies to understand and address security challenges comprehensively, while IR focuses more on political science and history, but can also incorporate insights from a wide range of social sciences and humanities disciplines. However, Buzan and Hansen, 2009, clearly distinguish international security studies from the general field of international relations as a subfield of international relation that mainly focuses on the use of force, or is primarily defined as the state use of military force of one state against another. Predominantly, what increasingly distinguished ISS from IR was that the concept of ISS, International Security Studies, was centered either on assumptions or debates on the topic of international security. So ISS also emerged as a distinct field after World War II, mainly because of the rise of realism, World War II, and the Cold War, which you can find in the article written by Buzan and Hansen in page 16 to 17. So the evolution of nuclear deterrence theory is a prime example that shows how international security studies became a separate field following World War II and during the Cold War. The prospect of nuclear war laid out the tensions between the US and the USSR during the Cold War. So during this time, the assumption of nuclear deterrence, which held that the two superpowers' possession of nuclear weapons as a warning to direct military conflict, was developed and improved. So this focus on the strategic implications of nuclear weapons and the dynamics of deterrence gave rise to a specialized branch within international security studies that analyzed the complexities of nuclear strategies, arms control, negotiations, and the broader implications for global security. So let's bring this to a scale where we all can relate to. We are all aware of what's happening in the Pacific region regarding China and its influence in the Pacific. So in 2022, Solomon Islands signed a security pact with China, sparking international concern over the possibility of Beijing building its first military base in the region. So at the same time, the US ramped up its Pacific diplomacy, hosting a landmark Pacific Leaders Summit and whirlwind tours by senior officials, including the Vice President Kamala Harris, and pledged more aid. So in February, the US reopened an embassy in Solomon Island after 30-year absence. So and then Australia, which had been accused of neglecting its own relationship with the Pacific countries, has also conducted a diplomatic push and amid fears of Chinese influence growing in the region. So this is according to Guardian article titled China's Rising Power and Influence in the Pacific, explained in 30 seconds, date 8th of March 2023 by Helen Sullivan. So basically what's happening here is that the powers in play here, like US and Australia, they feel trapped. And remember, international security is also about placing threats in relation to territorial boundaries. So in this case, the US and Australia feel threatened by the influence of China in the Pacific. So they are conducting diplomatic push within the region which comes under international relations. So we can now see how international security studies and international relations sort of like relate to one another. But overall, international security studies is a subfield of international relation. So yeah, that's all.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kelly and Group 5 for a very comprehensive answer. If you have any questions or comments for Natasha and the group, you can share in our discussion forum for this week. We'll move on to the next presenter representing Group 6, Samantha. Ms. Kona, please. Well, Samantha, maybe try to do troubleshooting for sound on your laptop. If that is okay, we'll give you time to sort out your technical issue while we move to Ms. Richard. Matilda, can you go ahead and then we'll give time to Samantha to sort out the technical issue and then we'll come back to you once you are done. Yes.
Can you hear me? Good morning, everyone. So I will be representing our group, Group 7, and I will answer our question. So the question given is, what is your understanding of nexus between security and development as mentioned in the PNG National Security Policy? Firstly, in order for us to answer the question, we first try to understand one of the important terms in the question, which is nexus, because we don't know what that term means. So according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, nexus simply refers to the connections or links of people or things. So basically that's the definition for nexus. So after understanding what nexus means, let's go straight to answering the question. So the question is, what is your understanding of nexus between security and development as mentioned in the PNG National Security Policy? So according to the National Security Policy, pages 4 to 5, after reading the notes on nexus between security and development, we have come to understand that in the past, these two terms were considered separate agendas or topics to look at, especially during the Cold War period. During the Cold War period, that was in the 1950s and leading towards the end of 1970s. The concept of security was polarized due to different ideologies that countries developed at that time. As a result, the concept of security was more towards addressing countries' addressing security threats in the event of arms race displayed by different states using their status and military power or capability, and not so much of security being considered as a personal safety or protection. Meanwhile, policy aimed at development and modernization were greatly influenced by dominant economic theories of the day, which stated that progressive economic growth would lead to greater wealth generated towards developing the strata of societies. However, many of the economic expectations were not fully achieved due to many social problems like law and order issues. As a result, a new set of thinking was necessary for people to effectively address those issues and to achieve an economic progress. With these two different ideas in the past, when comparing with present, redefining the two terms, after recognizing how these two concepts have evolved over time, we came to understand that nexus or connection between security and development as close relationship that can be defined as being interdependent towards the two concepts, because their connections give rise to the idea that sustainable development cannot be achieved without ensuring security. And effective security measures are more likely to succeed in an environment that is stable and safe. Like for instance, conflict and stability. In many regions affected by conflict, development efforts are severely impaired or even destroyed. Security challenges such as violence, terrorism, and political instability can disrupt infrastructures, hinders economic growth, and undermine social progress. Conversely, development disparities and limited access to basic services can contribute to grievance and instability, creating high security risk and causes a pawn to progress of development. To further break it down or give a clear example as to why these two terms, security and development, are nexus or connected, we can see a clear example in our country right now is the tribal fighting up in Enga province. With the current warfare, it poses a greater challenge for Enga province in terms of development, in terms of developing the province, the socio-economic development of the province, due to high security risk and what is happening up in the province. In addition, with such high security risk, it portrays a bad picture for possible investors in the province, and also it hinders or delays the progress of infrastructure development and other development as well. As a result, the province is likely to experience some of the worst negative implications in the progress of its development all because of the current high security risk. So we can see that security and development go hand in hand. Therefore, to conclude, it can be understood that nexus between security and development emphasizes the need for a comprehensive and integrated approach, where security considerations are embedded in development strategies and development efforts prioritize security-related concerns. By doing so, we can be able to address both aspects in a coordinated manner. And so we can clearly see that peaceful environment foster development and prosperity at all levels. And that can answer our question, which is to clearly understand the difference, the connection between these two terms, security and development. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Group 7 and Ms. Richard. A very good example, huh? The Wapen Amanda massacre featured in the front page of the Post-Korea, and it went global, viral. Now all media stations or all media outlets around the world are reporting what happened in PNG. It's very bad for foreign investors. If foreign investors don't invest, then they don't create jobs and they don't help grow the economy. Domestically too, who would want to send their children to the New Engen University that is in progress? You know, parents will be scared of sending their sons and daughters to Enga because in the middle of the lecture, they might be chased by people with bush knives and axes and high-powered guns. So it's a really serious situation, but good example. Another example could be the Black Wednesday. All these people who went on a looting spree and destroyed all the stop and shop shops and all that. It has caused very serious harm to our reputation. And now the Queensland Rugby League is thinking about reconsidering the option of staging home games here in Port Moresby for the PNG Hunters, citing the security situation and instability in the city and the country as a whole. So it's a another good example that we can use. All right, sorry, Samantha, please go ahead. Our final presenter for today.
Mr. Should be using my laptop to read the question.
That's
Hence, I
fine.
have a question.
All right, thank you.
Can you hear me? Okay, I'll begin the presentation. Once again, good morning, everyone. I will be representing my group, that is Group 6, and we'll be answering the question number 6 that is allocated to us. So question number 6 reads, what does Selby describe as the traditional state-centric formulation of security? Now, before going straight into answering the question, I would like to define the key terms that is identified by the group. And the key terms are state-centric and traditional security. State-centric is a term that is commonly used in the context of international relations. The focus on state-centric is the focus on state-centrism is state-centered or is on the state. The next term to define is traditional security. According to the Journal of Administrative Science 2022, page 250, and I quote, traditional security revolves around national security, which is seen as the state of military preparedness to defend a country against external threats. It refers to a realist construct of security in which the referent object of security is the state. End of quote. Furthermore, Yango 2021 added that traditional security places emphasis on keeping the state safe from military aggression. In this context, the emphasis is on the state security matters. Now, according to Delby 1997, a scholar has proposed an idea to redefine the concept of securities to include aspects of human liberation or human freedom. In addition to that, another analysis or study also stated that the focus shifted from state to societal security without properly solving difficulties that are solely posed by the traditional state-centered formulation, state-centric formulation. Now, this means that the idea of focusing solely on the state for security had caused difficulties in the past, especially in the sense where other aspects relating to the well-being of the people, or we can say social security, has been neglected. Therefore, Delby describes the traditional state-centric formulation of security indirectly as lacking the essence to consider or addressing societal, or in other words, non-societal security threats such as terrorism, cybercrime, etc. For additional information's sake, one of the main distinctions between traditional and non-traditional security is that in traditional security, the emphasis is placed on external military threats, and in non-traditional security, the emphasis is placed on societal or simply human security. And that's about what we've discussed. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Samantha and Group 6. So that brings us to the end of our discussion for today. So the two dominant views in security studies are security is either seen as state-centric, which is a threat from another state or threat by another state, and then human security. Human security is also considered as non-traditional security. So if you look at the literature, you see there are two distinctions. So we started off with talking about, not we, but scholars in the field, and globally they started off by talking about traditional security threats because in the beginning it was threat by another state, and it was a predominant view that if you do not secure yourself, then another state will attack you. So it was seen in the Cold War, and the foreign policies of major states like Australia sees China as a threat, and the US sees China as a threat, whereas PNG, we are more concerned with the non-traditional security threats, human security threats like the pandemic, drug smuggling, and cyber security. All these are more important to us. So if you look at the literature, there are two dominant views or two different philosophies. You can say philosophies in the words of Williams. So traditional security and non-traditional security. So in traditional security, it basically talks about state-centric security. Security threat from another state or on another state. Non-traditional security talks about human security and 6 or 7 different dimensions of human security. It talks about human rights, terrorism. These are groups within the state itself, pandemics, and environmental security focuses on the destruction of the seas and pollution of the environment and so on and so forth. So these are the two dominant views. Just the summary for you to understand. So when you look at security issues, you can try to distinguish. Okay, the China threat is a traditional security issue, and okay, HIV/AIDS, TB is a non-traditional security issue. human security issue and state-centric security issue. I hope that clarifies. I hope you too. So when you go through the media and go through the literature, and if you see all these different security issues, you can just categorize them into these two dominant categorization of groups. All right, so that's all. We'll stop here. Thank you all for attending. I will not take more of your time, but our just to repeat, our guest lecture on Monday is cancelled because of the public holiday on Monday, Remembrance Day. So we will move it to next Friday from 9 to 10 after we have our presentations from 8 to in a similar manner. We'll have our presentations from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock, and then 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. We will listen to Dr. Waluk Momi and share his understanding of security and what's currently happening in PNG. All right. So that's all. Any questions or comments? If you have questions or comments for your fellow presenters, you can share in our forum. The forum for this week will close on Sunday, 11 p.m. in the evening. And if you miss the closing time, you can also post next week in the forum for next week, week 3. It's on the same topic or same theme, so I'll count it. I'll count your comments and questions. That's all. Any comments or questions before I let you go? Verification on anything? No, Gata. Okay. So you need any? My WhatsApp number is there in the learning guide. So if you need any clarification on something, just WhatsApp me. Let me know via WhatsApp. I have a question. Deborah, go ahead, please. Please, Pradal has a question for us.
What's happening? My question is regarding the questions and answers. Are we supposed to post a question and comment to a group, or just either a comment or a question to a group?
You're asking, are you supposed to direct your comment and questions to a particular group, or can you repeat your question again? Sorry.
It's like the criteria they were supposed to post 1 to 2 questions or comments to a group, directly to a group. I don't know. We're confused because some of us said we have to post a comment and a question, while the criteria said we either post 1 to 2 comments or question.
Thank you. Screen share. Can you see that? Okay. All right. So here's the criteria, Deborah, for your in regards to your question. This is the breakup of the marks. So for each week, each of the 5 weeks, or each of the 5 sessions. We have 2 weeks. And within the 2 weeks period, you are, as per the criteria here, you are expected to ask 5 to 6 questions to get 3 marks, and 5 to 6 comments, make 5 to 6 comments to get the 3 marks. 3 marks. So together you will score the total of 6%. And your questions and comments should be directed to a particular group, or the comment could be in support of your own group. So the breakup of the marks is what you mentioned. You referred to the first column here, but if you look further, you see the second column and the third column. It gives you the breakup. If you ask only 1 or 2 questions or make only 1 or 2 comments, you'll get a mark of 1. That is after the 2 weeks period. And if you ask 3 to 4 comments or questions and make 3 to 4 comments, you'll get a mark of 2. That is after the 2 weeks period. And if you ask 5 to 6 questions and make 5 to 6 comments, you'll get a mark of 3. 3, 3, that's 6. 2, 2, 4, and 1, 1, that's a total of 2. So for example, this week is week 2 and next week will be week 3. So for this week's forum, if you ask this week and next week's forum, week 3 and week 2, if you ask about 3 questions and make 4 comments, then that's 2 plus 2, that will be 4. 4 out of 6 for the first session. All right, so on and so forth. The next 2 weeks, that's week 4 and week 5. For example, if you ask 1 question because you are caught up with so many things and you are not able to participate fully in the 2 weeks period, and you made only 1 comment, then that will be a mark of 2 out of 6. So on and so forth till the final session in week 12 and 13. Deborah, is it clear or are you still confused?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Deborah. Anybody else with a question or comment? First, Natasha, if we comment on our own, right? Yes. In response to someone's question, yes, Natasha, that's considered as a comment. If someone asks you a question or make a comment and you reply to the comment or question, or you answer the question or reply to the comment, and if I see that it's not a 1 or 2 words, thank you, noted with thanks or something, but it's substantial, it has substance to it, and you said, okay, this, and then you make reference to what you have read and your own knowledge and all that, then if it's substantial and comprehensive, then I'll count it as a comment. But someone should talk, thank you through, right man, did you ask a good question or something like that, that I will not count, for example. So it has to be something with substance or something comprehensive, then I'll count that as you sharing your knowledge, sharing your understanding of the question, or giving a response to the comment made. And I think there's we have another question from Sylvia. Sylvia said, I made 5 comments, questions on. Yes, if you go over the limit, it's okay. You don't need to delete. You look at if you look at the setting, you're not allowed to delete. Only me as the administrator, I can delete. But if you go over that, that's good. It shows your enthusiasm and your approach to learning and all that. So that's fine. Don't consider deleting. Just make sure you communicate or share information, ask questions and comments. And there's another question from Naomi. Can we adhere to what our group members have presented already? Yes, that will be counted as a comment. So if your group member answered the question and if you feel that, okay, these and these areas, you need to expand more and share with others, so it will help all of you to learn and have a deeper understanding of the issue or the question or the answer, then that's fine with me. You can do that, add on to what your peers have shared or your group member has shared, and either verbally in one of our sessions or when they're through their comments on the different forums. So I'll count it as a comment as well. Natasha. The forums for the different weeks will open for only a week. So for example, for this week's forum, week 2, it opened on Monday around 1 o'clock and I didn't open it. It's open, but it will close on Sunday, this Sunday, 25th at around 11 p.m. So if you miss out and if you still have questions and comments, if you did not meet the required tally and you want to share these questions and comments in the forum for next week, you can go ahead and do that. The forum for next week is open. It's open. And if you miss out and on Sunday, if the forum for this week closes, then you can post next week. But please note that the forum for next week, week 3, will also close on Sunday. All forums, they will close at the end of the week, if you look at the closing time. But the important thing to note is that you must not share your comment or question for security in the China forums or in the transnational crime forums or the climate change forums. If you do that, then I will not count, because the discussion for security is for security. It's for week 2 and week 3, weeks 2 and week 3. But if you get the same, if you get these comments for this week, these 2 weeks, and then try to post it in the two China forums, then it will not be counted, because it's not related to the theme. The discussion or the question is not related to the theme for that particular period or week or weeks. Natasha, I hope that clarifies. Yes, Miss Latumaina. Go ahead.
Hello, Mr. Mr. What happens where is there a possibility of getting 6 marks if we in the 2 weeks period do, for instance, we do 8 comments and 4 questions, or does it necessarily have to be 6 comments and 6 questions?
8 comments and 4 questions, huh?
Like if
Uh,
there's a misbalance in the 6.
If you have 8 comments, then you get 3 marks, and if you have 4 comments, you get 2 marks. So that's a total of 5 out of 6.
Okay. I see.
So for another example is if you have five comments and only 1 question during that 2 weeks period, only 1 question, you ask only 1 question, but you made 5 comments, then you get 3 marks for the comments and you get a mark for the question. So that's a total of 4 out of 6.
All right. So it has to be 5 and more.
Yeah, 5 to
questions
6.
or comments.
Yeah, 5. I mean, that is if you have time and if you manage your time well and you have your own plan as to how to tackle this assessment task, then it depends on your planning and
All right, Mr. Thank you.
your own approach to your learning. Yeah. But some people over the years have only done 1 or 2 comments for the 2 weeks. So I mean, I'm not judging, I'm just saying it. using it as using that as an example, it's possible for you to only have 2 questions or 2 comments during the 2 weeks because, I mean, we're all human beings. We are caught up with time and we have other priorities as well. Different things that we need to do over this period of time. So sometimes we are distracted and you realize that time has quickly gone by and you're unable to. So that is acceptable.
Thank you.
Okay. If no more questions and comments, I'll let you people go. I don't want to use up more of your MB, your data. You have other precious things to do, like download a lot of movies and stuff. So I'll let you people and watch a lot of movies about security. Read the newspaper as well, Post Korea National. Security is now the hottest topic in Parliament. Yesterday and the day after, I was watching the live sessions. Yeah, all the discussions were on security. Belden Nama is really, fire up about security issues in the country. And going back to Ms. Richards' presentation, it's important for our development and progress as a society. So security is a very controversial issue at the moment, the hottest issue at the moment. So I hope you're watching all the media outlets, Loop, PNG, and MTV, NBC, and also reading the newspapers. Did you all see that little boy who got chopped with a bush knife? He's on the front page of the. Maybe people should form a group or something. Use that as your issue for social media awareness campaign. No Lokatiman, no bush knife or something. Okay. Thank you all for attending and you all have a very good day today, blessed day to all, and we'll see each other next week Friday. We'll start off in the morning and then after 9 o'clock, we'll give the time to Doctor. And the following week, we have Dr. Dengwa Zheng from ANU, and Dr. Dengwa Zheng will talk about China. Following Monday, and the Monday after that, we have Richard McGregor from Lowy, and Richard McGregor will also talk about China as well. China and journalism. He was a journalist in China for many years, and now he's working for Lowy as a researcher. So he'll talk about journalism in China, his experience in China, and Dengwa will talk about China that Dr. Ualuk Momi will talk about security PNG. So these are the 3 guest speakers that I have lined up. The others will also Dr. Philip Mitna. I guess you all know Dr. Mitna. He's now on suspension. He's the Deputy Commissioner for Police Operations. And also we will try to listen to some of our alumni, like Mr. Samuel Bariasi used to work for the National. He's a PG graduate. Now he's working for Red Cross. So he has agreed to also share something about Red Cross and his days as a reporter in the National. So these are 2 other guest speakers that will, in the coming weeks, they'll share their experience and the knowledge with us. So I'm so sorry to delay the taking time to prepare. You all have a good day. See you all next week. See you on the forum, discussion forum. Bye for now.